Okay then, Helldivers, loads to go over today as we have got a update in the game files that happened just yesterday, which is really confusing, but we're going to take a look at that, as well as some talks from Johan Peterstedt as he's been taken onto Reddit big time just recently, discussing miniguns, armor changes, and so much more with regards to stamina drain. This is looking like a complete overhaul on what we're expecting to see from the game over the next year. And we're also going to talk crossovers, because he approached that one with the core tenets, which are some things that we need to take into consideration. So we're going to break it all down for you guys today. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful like button and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. On top of that, make sure you check out our sponsor, Instant Gaming. It's the platform where you can get your games cheaper for PC and console. The best deals, offers, promotions, discounts, all running up to 70% off. It's a no-brainer. Links in the description. Get your games a bit cheaper today. Let's dive into the game and just see what it is that's happening right now. So to give you guys a quick update of the in-game files, one specific file called Orion was altered just 9 hours ago. So this obviously is a bit of a confusion, as the Arrowhead Game Studios are all off on their winter break right now for the New Year's. Hopefully everybody has a great New Year's, I may add. We're going into 2025 tomorrow. Great times indeed. Nonetheless, they have been altering some things, especially like a file for the Quasar, which was only 8 days ago. But we're interested to see what it is that's going to happen. A lot of you guys are speculating that there are going to be alterations and things that happen maybe tomorrow on New Year's Day. But with a major order, there's still got 3 days left on it. I'll be very surprised to see any changes over the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll have to wait and see. I've been proven wrong a lot, but my suspicion is that there is nothing coming over the next couple of days, and then they'll get back into the studio and we can start running into what it is that Helldivers is going to bring. But some interesting conversations with Johan include something with regards to the minigun. You guys have been talking about a backpack-fed bullet regeneration minigun for quite some time now, and Johan has finally spoke up about it, and it seems that the game may need a complete overhaul to actually have that, and the HMG may actually be affected. Somebody stated right here, it doesn't even need to be a standalone weapon, but just give me a backpack that feeds machine guns and I'll be happy. And I think that that would be quite a cool feature, although there's a lot more detail to this than is necessary. Peterstedt states right here, would be even better, but there are things that we want to do before that. Miniguns as a carried weapon are notoriously problematic. You can see this in every video of people hip firing a minigun. They are more or less thrown backwards by the insane recoil. The way we would have to solve this is to have players be moved backwards unless they take up a steady firing position. This would probably also apply to the HMG, which was probably added maybe a bit prematurely. In addition, the backpack magazine is needed, and unfortunately the game currently doesn't support a weapon occupying 2 slots, which will have to be resolved before a minigun can be added. After all that is done, 5.5mm minigun will be added to being deployed. Anybody has any other design suggestions for how to release a minigun in Helldivers? Now, this is quite a big movement. The main reason for that is there were quite a few things to take away from it. When we do receive a minigun, we will have to essentially fire it without the recoil in a stance position, meaning we won't be able to move. It also means that the HMG may well change in the future, because he's stating it was probably added a bit prematurely and we shouldn't be able to use it as if we're still using a Stalwart or anything like that. So we'll have to see exactly how that one runs. And with the minigun occupying 2 slots, including the backpack and the primary weapons support, it's going to be quite a difficult venture. So probably not expecting to see anything happen in a little while. Maybe within the next 6 to 10 months we could see something, but even then the rework will probably have to come first. And then with that one, they even stretch this into other weapons. Somebody stated right here, I can see this being a thing, but I also feel that there are other weapons like the newly added Wasp that would seem just as heavy but don't affect stamina and movement. And Johan stated, I agree, at some point we will update the core mechanics to become deeper, both in positives and negatives, like why doesn't the bipods work? And yes, again, this is a very good thing, but at the same time, when we start talking about the core mechanics of what makes the game great, we do obviously worry that they may affect this a little bit too deeply, as Arrowhead have got a bit of a very renowned movement for making big changes that don't work in positive aspects. One of which that they were talking about is regards to stamina drain, and this could be a big movement because stamina is something that we run out of quite frequently anyway, because we use it to run, we use it to dive, we use it for quite a lot of things. Somebody stated right here, that's certainly an idea. He acknowledged the biggest problem with it, that it would be needing to catch in order for it to not overtake other machine guns. My thought would be that to have an impact that divers speed and stamina, which again is quite deep, but impacts the core mechanics again. Now, Peterstead really dove into this one and he loved the idea of it, as it states, stamina drain is a great idea, and when too low, you can't resist the recoil. Man, I'm thinking about this more, and this is in general a great system. I gotta meditate on this. There's something awesome here in regards to recoil control and stamina. So it could mean that the less stamina we have, the less chance we have of shooting straight, which is okay, but when you are on the run from so many ads on a level 10 and turn around to fire your weapon, if you have no stamina, you may not even hit them. This again is fun, messing around with core mechanics that could be a positive and could be a negative, but I want to know your opinions down in the comment section below. He also went into lead into that if we receive a minigun, then we would receive an entire armor overhaul. Now this is huge. This was posted up on the Reddit with regards to the minigun thread, and they essentially went into great detail about specific weapon types, specific millimeter weapons. Actually, it was quite an impressive read to know exactly how much knowledge they had on guns, to say the least. But when they started looking at that with the RPMs, Johan stated right here that I don't think it'd be possible for anyone to do a 2000 RPM in 7.62 equivalent ammo and stand up. I agree with your point overall though. Maybe a redesign of the entire armor system is in place as well before the minigun implementation, making a mountain out of a molehill, but yes, it needs to make sense. So it could mean that we could have like a super heavy armor set that would mean that we were running extremely slowly, but we could have that solid stance to be able to withstand such a massive recoil output, or they could just alter the heavy armor to do that same stuff. I have no idea, but it does look like they are going to be fiddling around with a massive area of the game that could be probably a little bit more negative than positive. But let's get a little bit more positive on this basis, because we're going to talk about crossovers, and somebody posted up this right here, which states, not all collabs would become Fortnite and COD. Where do you draw the line here? And they pretty much did like a graph of what makes sense all the way up to Snoop Dogg, which doesn't make any sense. But Johan actually commented on this and showed where the drawn line is, and it was just after where Warhammer 40k is, which really kind of leans into the fact that cross collaborations may be a thing that doesn't happen all too often, and pretty much writ off the idea of Star Wars ever coming to the game, which is so infuriating. But he states right here, there is some nuances to this, and you have to avoid IP dilution, which essentially means that you don't want so many crossovers that you become almost like a publication of just promotional platforms, which means essentially that you don't just farm off money, which although is a positive, it's at the same time quite a negative. I know a lot of people would want some of the more funkier crossovers that may well just breach the line of what's right for Helldivers, but at the same time they also need to make money. So how they run this, we'll have to wait and see, and then they need to keep it as authentic as they can be and review the IP effects often after each collaboration and how it could impact the Helldivers as a brand, which is absolutely huge. And I'm glad that they're really taking this into consideration, because it could mean that they are going to lean into probably a little bit more of a childy aspect of the game, and that's just not what we promote here as far as Helldivers 2. The game itself is quite a gruesome intellectual movement as far as a strategic game, and leaning it into that area really could take some harm as to where it is that the audience is currently sat at. But I want to know what your opinions are. On that graph, where would you draw the line? I'm really intrigued. Nonetheless, we're going into your top comments, and this states right here, I'm holding out hope that Arrowhead will drop the full force of the Illuminate on New Year's Day, and I think that you may well be a little bit disappointed if that's where you're leaning into. I don't think that that's necessarily going to happen, although I've been proven wrong so many times, but my main consensus is the major order runs 3 days. They're not going to drop it midway through, because I think a lot of people after the Christmas period are kind of expecting that, now that we've had the Game Awards manic drop-off where they just input straight into a major order. I don't think it's going to happen for maybe a couple of days when they get back into the offices. Nonetheless, next up it states, breaching city walls is the biggest reason I take 500 in with the squids. Movement is king, and yes, 100%. Those walls can be taken down by explosives, so making sure that you've got a 500 with you means that you could breach a wall and just input into the urban biomes, or if you're trying to get out, it's definitely an easy way to get out as well. And finally it states, I wish I could set so that my random Helldiver voice could be in any language. That would be kinda neat. Now, Yeah, I do think it's a little bit of a weird one, that, and I know a lot of people would enjoy it. I do like the immersion aspect of what it is that Moi03 was speaking about, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave the link in the description. It was a great video last time, and we had so much good talks about how it is that the audio aspect of language could implement, and it would make the immersion incredibly insane. If you were German, your character would talk German across all of people's games. If you were English, it would talk English across all of people's games, meaning that you could be diving as a team that was speaking Japanese, English, and German all at the same time, and still be able to kind of understand each other based on your exosuit, would decipher that and give you guys actual subtitles on screen. I think it'd be quite cool. That's my personal opinion. Let me know if your ideas down in the comment section below, but unfortunately that's all we've got time for today. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you haven't already, like, subscribe. Appreciate your faces, and as always, I'll see you in the clouds.